What a surprising turn of events for the Chicago Bears today, and it's the kind of update that fans have been waiting to hear. After weeks of battling injuries and inconsistency, there's finally some good news coming out of Halas Hall. Tyrique Stevenson, yes, the Bears' lockdown corner, was back at full speed in practice. That's a huge boost for a defense that's been missing his fire and physical presence on the field. But before we jump into all the latest updates and what this means for Sunday's matchup, make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and turn on the bell icon so you don't miss any Chicago Bears news the moment it drops. Alright, let's dive into it. The Bears sit at 4-3, and they're finally getting healthy again. Tyrique Stevenson, who had been sidelined for 2 weeks with that shoulder injury against the Saints, is now a full go for the upcoming clash with the Bengals. And that's massive, because when he's on the field, opposing quarterbacks barely even dare to throw his way. So far this season, Stevenson's stats tell the story: 25 tackles, 16 solo, 1 interception, 3 pass breakups, a forced fumble, 2 recoveries, and a tackle for loss. But here's what really stands out: when teams target him, they complete less than 30% of passes, with a quarterback rating under 28. That's lockdown football. And now, pairing Stevenson with C.J. Gardner-Johnson, who just joined the team, gives Chicago one of the most electric and fiery corner duos in the league. Both are intense, both talk their talk, and both can back it up. It's the kind of energy that could change the entire mood of this defense. The Bears are finally getting healthy, and just in time for a big test against Cincinnati. Stay with me, because what's happening with Joe Flacco over in Cincinnati might just make this matchup even more interesting. And here's where things get even more exciting for Chicago, because the Bears aren't just getting Tyrique Stevenson back. They're also welcoming a proven veteran who knows Dennis Allen's defensive system inside out. That combination could be a game-changer. If you look back at what he did under Allen in New Orleans, the numbers speak for themselves: 161 tackles, 122 of them solo, 5 interceptions, nearly 30 pass breakups, and constant pressure on quarterbacks with sacks, hits, and tackles for loss. That's the kind of player who makes everyone around him better. Since 2022, he's led the entire league with 13 interceptions. That's no small feat, and now, pairing him with Tyrique Stevenson gives the Bears a defensive backfield that's aggressive, fearless, and hungry to make plays. Sure, the Bears are still dealing with injuries. Kyler Gordon and Jalen Johnson are both on IR, but this new combination of Stevenson and Gardner-Johnson gives the defense fresh leadership and attitude. It also allows the depth pieces like Josh Blackwell, Nick Molden, and Jalen Jones to focus on what they do best: dominating on special teams and providing solid rotational support. The energy around this secondary is different now. You can feel it: faster, louder, and more confident heading into Sunday. But the real under-the-radar boost? That's coming from Austin Booker, the rookie edge rusher out of Kansas. The Bears actually traded up to get him in the draft, and now he's finally set to make his debut this weekend. Booker was electric during the preseason. In just 2 games, he racked up 9 tackles, 5 sacks, 2 QB hits, a pass breakup, and a forced fumble. That's insane production for a young player still finding his rhythm. Getting him back now, especially with the defensive line struggling to pressure the quarterback last week, could be exactly what this team needs. Whether it's Joe Flacco or Jake Browning under center, Booker's burst off the edge could change the entire tone of this game. A defense that's younger, faster, and full of energy, that's what we're about to see on Sunday. So don't blink, because these Bears are heating up at the perfect time. With Austin Booker finally back in action, things could get interesting for Chicago's defensive front. His presence alone takes some pressure off Jervin Dexter, who's faced plenty of criticism lately, and it gives Montez Sweat a real partner on the edge. Suddenly, this defensive line looks a whole lot deeper and a whole lot more dangerous. If Dennis Allen's crew can turn up the heat the way they're capable of, Cincinnati's offensive line is in for a long afternoon. The return of Booker isn't just good news, it's a statement that this defense is ready to attack again. But now, let's shift to the other side of the ball, because the offense just got a huge lift too. The Bears are facing a Bengals defense that ranks dead last in total yards allowed, over 400 yards per game. That's an opportunity Chicago has to take advantage of. And the timing couldn't be better, because the offense is quietly finding its rhythm and now gets one of its most reliable weapons back, tight end Cole Kmet. It's been clear that the Bears' tight end group hasn't been fully utilized under Ben Johnson so far, but with Kmet returning, that could change quickly. When he's in rhythm with Caleb Williams, they move the ball, plain and simple. Add in Colston Loveland, and suddenly the Bears have 2 solid tight end targets that can open up the field in big ways. Kmet's had a few frustrating drops this year, but he's still the clear leader in that room. After missing the first game of his entire career last week, he's back with fresh energy and motivation. Through limited opportunities this season, he's hauled in 9 catches for 132 yards and a touchdown. Not eye-popping numbers yet, but his impact goes beyond stats. He's a locker room leader, a tone setter, and one of the key pieces in Ben Johnson's offensive design. Having him back gives Caleb another trusted option, and against a struggling Bengals defense, that could be exactly what sparks a breakout game for this offense. Stay with me, because things are only getting more interesting from here. Now let's talk about the man Chicago has been waiting to see back on the field, DJ Moore. After that nasty injury he suffered against Washington, one serious enough to keep him in the hospital overnight, DJ Moore finally returned to practice this week, even if it was on a limited basis. And according to reports, he looked sharp. That alone is huge for the Bears offense. Despite playing hurt for most of the season, Moore has been everything you'd expect from a true number 1 receiver. He's been targeted 38 times by Caleb Williams, pulling in 26 catches for 331 yards and a touchdown, averaging just over 10 yards a grab. Sure, he's had a few drops, but you can't question his toughness. He's been battling through pain, and now he's finally starting to look like himself again. And speaking of Caleb Williams, the rookie quarterback popped up on the injury report this week with a sore heel, something he says he's actually been dealing with all season. It flared up after that brutal game against the Ravens, but he's made it clear, he's fine, he's ready, and he'll be suiting up this Sunday in Cincinnati. That's a relief Bears fans definitely needed to hear. Then there's Rome Odunze, who continues to impress in his second year. Quietly, he's becoming one of the most reliable young receivers in the entire league. Through 7 games, he's already seen 56 targets, one of the highest totals in the NFL, catching 31 passes for 473 yards and 5 touchdowns. And here's the crazy part, all 5 of those scores came in the first 4 weeks. You know he's hungry to find the end zone again. With DJ Moore getting healthy, Odunze breaking out, and Caleb pushing through, this offense has every reason to come alive against a Cincinnati defense that's been struggling all season. The Bears are sitting at 4-3, and a win here keeps them right in the thick of the NFC North race. So yeah, if you've got Rome Odunze in your fantasy lineup, you might want to start him this week. This matchup could be exactly what sparks something special. But it's not all perfect just yet, there are still some concerns heading into Sunday. DeAndre Swift and Roschon Johnson remain sidelined, and that could make things tricky for the Bears' run game. Stay with me, because those updates could make all the difference in how this game plays out. Now, let's take a closer look at the Bears' final injury report, and honestly, it's a mix of concern and cautious optimism. Starting with Luther Burden, who's out with a concussion. That's never something to take lightly. He's a young, promising player, and sometimes the best move is to sit, rest, and fully recover before stepping back onto the field. Hopefully, the team gives him the time he needs. Roschon Johnson is still sidelined with a back issue and hasn't practiced this week. That likely means more carries for Khalil Herbert, though it's worth noting, Johnson's workload had already been limited this season. Still, his absence will be felt in the rotation. The Bears are also missing Dominique Robinson, who's battling a nasty ankle sprain and is expected to miss a couple of weeks. Thankfully, Austin Booker's return should fill that gap on the edge and help bring some much-needed pressure. DeAndre Swift, the Bears' offensive engine and current leader in total yards, remains on the report with a groin injury. But the good news is, it doesn't sound too serious. He's expected to play, and Chicago will absolutely need his burst and versatility against Cincinnati. Veteran lineman Joe Thuney was given a rest day, nothing to worry about there. The guy's a pro, he knows how to be ready come game day. So while there are a few red flags, there's also enough depth to keep things steady. Now, shifting over to the Cincinnati Bengals, things aren't looking much better for them. Their list is long and includes some big names. Joe Flacco is dealing with an AC joint sprain in his throwing shoulder. He's been limited in practice, and that's something to watch closely. If that shoulder tightens up again, the Bengals might be forced to turn to Jake Browning under center. Star pass rusher Trey Hendrickson is also questionable with a hip injury. If he can't suit up, that's a major break for Chicago's offensive line and for Caleb Williams, who'll have one less elite defender to worry about. A few others, like Dalton Reisner, Cam Sample, Logan Wilson, and Marco Wilson, are also dealing with various issues. The Bengals, much like the Bears, are limping into this matchup. So what does all this mean? It means Sunday could come down to which team's depth steps up. Both rosters are banged up, both have something to prove, and both are desperate for a win that could swing their seasons. It's going to be physical. It's going to be loud. And it's going to say a lot about who the Bears really are. Stay with me, because this one has the makings of a statement game in Cincinnati.